Okay, so with the recent Unity announcement, many developers are coming to the Unreal Engine or a different uh, game engine, I guess. The future for Unity is very uncertain, so I think it might be cool to create a video. And this is not gonna be a tutorial video. This is more of a video like the title suggested. We'll talk about the licensing, royalty, useful informations, and what kind of what kind of option you have as an indie developer, or somewhere midway to the mid-sized developer, I guess. So let's get started. I'll try to keep it short, and then I'll just like pause and unpause when I switch to different things. And then I basically try to do it in one go, basically. Okay, so if you are trying to migrate from Unity to Unreal Engine, there is a page. I'll put all the page I open here in description, so you can look at your own pace. So basically, they do have a Unreal Engine for Unity developer kind of migration page up already, and it does go through a lot of topics. You can see the table of content like here. It goes through a lot of different things you might have think about, or it's like kind of, I would say this is like kind of, if you want any crash course for checking what's the difference between Unreal Engine 5 and Unity, this is a good page to go through. If you are, you have 5 years, 8 years, doesn't matter. The more experienced you are, the more this page should help you making your decision. So I guess that's a good page to go through. Cool. Then next, license. So what license option do we have? Like basically, most of the indie developers fall under this standard licensing, which is you download the launcher, you download the engine, or you download the GitHub repo, and then you start doing your own thing, and then try to publish. This is where most likely your plan will fall on. But if you don't like the royalty or whatever terms, or you have your own lawyer, you have your own team, you can go to this custom license. You just basically have to contact Epic to about those. They will have premium support. Basically, they have like a Unreal Dev like kind of forum that's specifically allocated for people that are on custom license. Yeah. So that's that. And then the next topic will be what kind of like a licensing issue that what happen if they try to pull a Unity, right? Which is they actually kind of anticipate that, and then they actually have the Unreal End User License Agreement laid out pretty clearly, specifically in the 7, the agreement between you and Epic. Let's just scroll down quickly. 7 here. Wait. 6, 7. Okay. So basically, if they make any change to this agreement, you are not required to accept the amended agreement. And this agreement will continue to govern your use of any licensed technology. Basically means Unreal Engine version you are currently using, you already have access to, right? So if they do change, they will give you a notification and everything ahead of time, and then you can still, use whatever you have at that point, but you are not allowed to upgrade or access certain Epic service. Basically, if you decide to do that, then some future integration or stuff that requires to be upgraded might not be available. For example, Epic Online Service, if they do something to that, maybe they will be changed. So you need to talk with your lawyers, right? Yeah. So, but as far as we go, this is basically what we have, and then you don't need to worry about, oh, they're going to put install fees on your games. Yeah. And so for the history wise, there is also a page that documents all the legacy changes to everything. And like so you don't need to be worried about like, oh, what did I change like in the past 6 months, what did I change to a like a end user license agreement. It's all here. It's very transparent, right? So yeah, talk with your lawyers as we mentioned before. And next would be royalty. So royalty is a big section. I'm not going to go through all the details or like what's eligible, what's not eligible, and everything. We are basically talking about very standard, like the standard licensing. And if you don't have any custom term withstand, this is what it follows. So basically, it's 5% for the revenue. You know, so if if you pay, some customer of your game pay Steam $20, $20 is the revenue, right? And then Steam will take their cut. Epic's cut is 5%, but we'll talk about the actual thresholds, right? So basically, the threshold is like this here. The threshold is 1 million for your lifetime exclusion. So basically, any project, if it make under 1 million US dollars, you don't have to pay royalty. Only for the money you make over 1 million for a certain game, then you have to pay. And on top of that, it also have a quarterly kind of like exclusion. Basically, even if you earn past 1 million, and then if for any quarter you make less than $10,000, you don't have to pay Epic royalty. But once you cross that threshold, as shown up example here, the second quarter says you made $10,100, then it's like $10,100 times 5%, and then you have to pay then $505, like that. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I think this is very indie friendly. Uh, you know, if you somehow like make more, you know, and then you think the 5% is way too much, you can still negotiate with them, right? With your custom license terms. Okay, so that's the royalty. The next would be features. So for deciding what type of game you want to do, basically you want to see how does the engine cut your development time. What do they do to help you finish your game? And then you can look at the features page, and then Unreal Engine is a big engine. It was used in many industry, basically commercial archviz, like architecture visualization, in feature film, like virtual productions, in like a news broadcast, everything, right? Like anything you think about CG, um, computer graphics related thing is pretty much involved. Yes, virtual productions, right? So you just basically check what kind of game feature you might need and see if that's actually something you wanted, right? Create your own bucket list and then start checking, and then, oh, like how does this compare to Unity? How does this compare to Godot, or other game engine you have in mind, right? So that's that. Cool. What's next on the topic? Next would be Visual Studio. Okay. So they do have, if you are doing your own engine compiling, they do have, or you are doing a C++ project, they do have a pretty nicely write up web page for you to, you know, if specifically for Windows, they will tell you what kind of version you need to install, something like that, or what is recommended as default compiler. And then you can do that really quickly, and then it even tell you what kind of component you need to install. I basically have no issue with this once I follow through the installation process. You might need to uninstall older stuff if you ever try, say, like Unreal Engine 4 or something, so just to keep your system a little bit clean. Okay, and next one. Okay, this guy. So this guy is very interesting, and it pops up around where they transition from D3D from DirectX 11 to DirectX 12, something like that. So you might have run into this. I will probably have a different video up for that one. You might already, if you search for the term you saw here, you might run into it, but just to know, this is something you can fix. It might be very frustrating if you run into this. It could be a combination of issue like here, right? Did you run out of memory, or there's some stuff they try to do in the engine actually getting timed out, or bug in the engine code, bug in the driver, bug in the operating system, bug problem with the hardware. So a problem with hardware when I run into this kind of issue is people suggest if you have overclocked, or even like a vendor overclocked the GPU, you might try to, if you actually run into this one, basically mean you don't have like stable overclock. If that's a hardware related, you should remove the overclock utilities like a Riva tuner, like the afterburner or whatever overclocking utility, and then try to set the clock back to the stock default, and then see if it helps you. And if not, try see if you can come up with a different computer, and then see if that helps you solve the issue. There there are people that have the unlucky combination, say they have some operating system, they are having a bad driver or something like that. That's it's hard to debug those, and for the vast majority of people, we are running fine. So if you run into this, try to talk with people on Unreal Slacker, the Discord, or talk to the people on Unreal Engine forum, or even on the Reddit, something like that, and then see if people can help you out. Try to debug the issue, but I'll leave this in the description. This is one of those odd crashes that doesn't actually tell you what happened compared to other things, so I think it's worth mentioning. But yeah, it doesn't happen often. Okay, this doesn't happen often if you have proper hardware and drivers upgrade to the latest. Okay, next. That's a little bit too quick. Let's move on to my next talking point, which is recommended sample project. Let me pause and unpause. So when you download the launcher, and if you want to install a new engine version, you basically do this and then pick the engine version you want to install, right? And what's important is the sample project you want to start learning to do things. There are two sample projects I highly recommend it if you try to learn, or just crash and then start going. Is one is for learning, for if you're absolute beginners, the content example is a good place to start. It offers a gallery environment. It just show you what kind of feature for animation, for particles, for pretty much any features they have in engine. They usually have a gallery that shows you like their features, right? Say for Niagara, they just show you a bunch of different emitters, how can you control it and everything. And it's a very, very useful learning material for to get this content example project. They update it pretty frequently when they upgrade the engine. So this is like a I I basically have this content example all the time. You can see my library. Yeah, see, I have different versions of content example project created, right? Uh, and then the next one is if you already are quite experienced and you you know on top of the content example where you go to look at the specific feature, if you want to have some simple project that's one game that you can just breaking down how they work, the Lyra starter game is what you want to do, because this starter game is fully multiplayer supported. It has the menu system, it has the level selection, it has different game mode. It's basically like a one-stop example shops for you to look at how to implement many like a basic game functions. Uh, so you know, obviously it's like kind of arena shooter based. It does also have like a Bomberman kind of extra mode. So it's top down like a kind of isometric kind of third person style. They also have that. So you can try digging, and then I'm not going to go too deep into that, but yeah, this is a great place to start if you are or kind of seasonal developer knowing your way around. And then just trying to dig down, okay, how do I create menu, how do I do multiplayer, how do I do like special effects and everything, how do I do hit detection, even have portals here. Yeah, so it's great to just download, play around, and then keep it in place. And then when you develop your game and say, oh shit, how do I implement this kind of feature? If it's in Lyra, just come back and then try to see what they did. So yeah, so next one would be I'll be talking about like Blueprint and C++. I'll try to be quick, and then this is the Lyra starter game I just bring up in 5.3 here. Uh, yeah, I did run into some issue when trying to do the game. I did run into the D3D Crash. I did solve it. So you can see like it has many features here uh, with different game mode, and then you can, so this is the exploder mini game. Yeah, so the just to see, so you can see, it's kind of third person game, and it has it's basically Bomberman, right? Yeah, so that's that. And then it has menu system, it has sound, it has visual effects and everything. You can do like those stop playing editor thing, or you just quit game. Are you sure? Yes, and then it goes back to the menu, like actual menu system, right? It has like full thing available for you. Yeah. Okay. So how about Blueprint and C++? If you are really beginner, I would suggest you start with Blueprint only, because it's a lot more controlled environment. So you basically remove the, oh, what happened if I type in C++ code wrong and then the compile doesn't work and then my editor doesn't load. So you kind of remove that part out of your equation. But if you are already kind of experienced with compiling and everything, you can go with the C++ project, no problem. Like even if you are like very happy with this with coding and compiling, you can even just download from GitHub and then just create your own fork and everything. Uh, the other thing is when you do start doing blueprint project and you want to later convert it into a C++ project, you can do so. There is place where you can create a new class, so and then it will automatically help you convert to a C++ project. Like in Unreal Engine 5 is actually pretty simple. If you go to this tool and then new C++ class, then it will help you build it, right? And it'll help you do the conversion. It will require you to restart the editor and everything, and then after you create your own class, you are ready to go. What's the next topic is plugins. Okay, so it is highly recommended you develop your own more serious stuff in plugin format. What you do is you go to plugins, and then you can see like in Origin 5 it's actually pretty well managed in plugin format, and then you can just add your own plugin, right? So when you create plugins, if you are in C++ project like Lyra, you will automatically have those like kind of code plugin stuff. But if you are only starting with Blueprint, like you want to create your own Blueprint library or stuff, there is those content only plugin or Blueprint library thing that you can fit your purpose inside, and then make sure you have your own thing in a plugin format is important because it helps you doing the migration easier. You can always turn on and off certain feature if you don't need, and then you can set up dependencies for your plugins if you do uh, progress in your development for a while. Um, uh, it just like a I would say personal preference. I prefer to put, say, my custom library things into a plugin, so you can move from this project to a different project easier. Instead of going through the migration process, which is something like this. If I want to migrate, you have to do as action and then migrate, and then it will try to calculate the reference and then migrate over a bunch of things, and then you might have reference issue or like a folder structure issue. You might try to override some things, but with a plugin, it's much cleaner. So next one is the new feature and the kind of moving target for Unreal Engine, especially early in a new engine cycle. I don't know how many of you actually tried Unreal Engine 4 when it first started with behind the $20 paywall. It was the same, like in the early cycle of a new deployment, they basically will upgrade the engine version very quickly. Usually, sometimes like in like 3 months to 4 months, and then usually it's like a half year to 10 months. I guess it's like the slower pace one. Yeah. So be expected to, right now we are at 5.3. You can probably see 5.4 or 5.5 with probably within the spring next year. I don't know for sure, but it's moving very quickly. So how do you manage your risk when you try to develop something? It's a very interesting indicator if you even see the plugins. So if it's not beta, like even if it's version 0.1 or something, this version doesn't actually matter that much. The thing matters is more is like this experimental clause. Any feature that inside says experimental, you might want to be more cautious while trying to use it for your own project. You can use them on a side project, that's fine. Like, just play around with it and then give them feedback and everything. But to implement it into your own game, it's risky because they could change the function call. They might decide, oh, this function call is no longer needed. They just remove it, and you upgrade your when you upgrade your engine version, and suddenly your things start to break down, right? So don't rely on experimental things. That's very important. And if for some stuff they already remove the experimental tag, but they keep the beta tag, means it's kind of in active development. There might you can check their roadmap, but the thing in beta is they might still changing stuff, but usually you can start developing with it in mind. That means this is a use at your own risk feature, and then you should have the staff that can, you can fix it yourself. So if you don't have the programmer to fix it, don't try those beta things. Or if you feel very adventurous, then yeah, why not, right? Yeah. And then the more stable feature, of course, they are, even without beta, they might still have bugs. You can report bugs and everything, and then it's the Unreal Engine 5 as a whole is moving, so they are constantly updating Nanite, they are constantly updating Lumen, they are constantly updating their new audio system, Metasound, like a chaos physics is also changing, right? So it's like a fixing very quickly, even between 5.0 to 5.2, like chaos is updated quite a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so next one is the marketplace. So if you go to marketplace, there's obviously tons of things you can go through, and one of the important feature is the free for the months one, which you can see if that's something you need, and then just add to cart, and then keep it in your kind of corner or vault, so you can if that's something you want, then just kind of just keep it. Usually the animation and like assets are pretty cool to keep. um, and there's also other free content, usually like the epic game contents or like a mega scan one. Those are pretty good, so definitely check them out, and then just start putting them into your thing. The important one is, for the Epic provided free content, they usually have a clause where it's only free when you are using with Unreal Engine. So when you try to get, so for example, like a mega scan content, make sure you have the you just kind of review it, and then see if they have any license term. It's UE only content, right? So license for use only with Unreal Engine based products, right? So just make sure when you check, get the free content, make sure you verify everything before you move ahead, and then oh, this tree looks nice, can I export and then do something else with my own engine? No, like they specifically say you can only use it with Unreal Engine. uh okay, so last would be, if you are like a truly kind of not a full well-rounded developer, and you want to dip into making your own minigame and then be able to share with a lot of people, I think UEFN is a good place to start, because it's regularly updated. You can publish your own kind of mini game, like they basically call your island. You can publish your mini level with your game mode and everything to Fortnite, and you can get revenue share if you eventually enough people play your own mini game, and you can use any asset they already created for Fortnite, and then you can fetch. Of course you can upload your own asset, and then they have a fab, like kind of marketplace plugin. You can just drag and drop into your own level. Yeah, so that's a good place to start. It has a little bit more limited feature compared to the full Unreal Engine. Oh right, I should start to show around a little bit while pause. Okay, so I have the UEFN open up. You can see it looks very similar to the Unreal Engine 5's editor. Well, basically they are kind of the same, but they are specifically built for Fortnite. And you have roughly similar layout. You have like island templates, you have feature examples and everything. So basically when you open, you will be greeted with stuff that you need to basically follow one of the example. And on top of that, the UEFN project is backed by Unreal's like a revision control, so you don't even need to do your own backup system in a sense, and you can just basically run with it, and then every time you can like really create your own custom level in a sense. You basically use their own workflow to create a sub level, and then you can already do, you can even publish lunch session and then start game, and then you can start seeing what this is from one of their example. I just name it mass parkour because I want to make something for my son to play with. um, so I haven't got deep into it yet, but yeah, it's very interesting thing you can do directly in it. It's multiplayer supported. So yeah, I think this is a good starting point if you try to do something with Unreal Engine, and then if eventually you want to do your own game, then you can move on to actual Unreal Engine 5, and then probably many things will feel a little bit more familiar. Yeah. Uh, let's see. So they do have their own scripting language. Right now, it's only available in UEFN. It's not available yet in the main Unreal Engine 5 build, which is the verse. What they do is, because the creative mode have kind of limited um, kind of functionality wise, and they are trying to kind of limited the blueprint side of thing a little bit. um, it's a little bit tricky, right? Because you are publishing something that can be available right away after kind of they validated it a little bit, and then it's available for all the other people that can play. So they need to be a little bit more careful about what kind of code you can run. So that's why they do this, and then they have like a full documentation how you can control various type of thing here. Um, so I'll also leave this for the description, so you can take a look. Uh, their you know their scripting language is kind of interesting. I'm not expert on this, but if you are really good with scripting language, feel free to go ahead and just try to learn your thing. Yeah, I'll leave it at the get started page, I guess. It's much better. Oh, so I don't know if I missed out a lot. So basically, they introduced a creator economy 2.0. You can, when you publish stuff in creative mode or using the UEFN mentioned here, what you can do is you can create something. If a lot of people played it, it'll try to do a revenue share. They said they will set aside 40% of their revenue, and then distribute it based on engagement, right? So there are the rules. So basically, if you create something, a lot of people played it, and then spend when they spend money, and they basically calculate how much you can engage the player, like a kind of player retention thing. Then they will split, and then like for the revenue they generated, they will split something and then send toward you, right? So that's that. So it's not like, you just create work for free for Unreal Engine. Maybe the investment and return is not that positive compared to if you publish your own game. But it's a free platform. You can have all the asset ready for you to use. Um, I think it doesn't hurt if you can create something and then kind of gain a little bit of kind of fan base there. And then once you start moving to build your own game, you can kind of make a announcement island. Oh, I'm doing this game here. Follow me on Steam or wishlist and something like that, right? It doesn't hurt. Okay, wrapping up. So with all the stuff talking about, we are clocking in at like 36 minutes. Hopefully it's not too long. I will kind of timestamp it. And basically, best of luck to you, the Unity guys. And you know, I think it's quite unfortunate the Unity did this decision and then kind of leave a big gap in the industry. Um, in terms of like a project size and scale stuff. And yeah, good luck and keep developing, making games.